34th edition of InvestData Trading Academy live with Ambrose. Yes, I'll tell you that the global stock market at this hour is quite mixed, and I can tell you that there's reaction to some macroeconomic data coming from some domain, and also reaction to deadline given to Russia to end the war in Ukraine by President Trump. All these are driving the sentiment as we speak right away in the global economy or the global market. Let me put it that way. In this hour, but good thing is that most domain investors in those environments are taking advantage of what is happening in their market, and also on the strength of the numbers, and also market data that are hitting that market. They are all making what investment decision. Just like as also doing here, as numbers are having a inflows of corporate earnings here coming with some rewards and some trade dividend. Also, this market also witnessing in their own domain as we speak right away. If you look at Asia market at this hour, Asia market, it's mixed. What I mean, right, the market there are mixed. Some are in green, while some are in red. I can tell you that the Australia market is also gaining softly at this time on the strength of also software what inflation figure that also come in that domain. And investors are also playing cautious, looking at what the outcome of the Bank of Japan and the right of Federal Reserve of US decision on what on rates. These are the things that also keeping most of the market amidst, like I said earlier. But participants are paying attention that yes, since most of the tariff deal have been signed, and also deadline coming up on the first. Today is already 30th of July. We have less than 2 days or less than 48 hours to first. And also these are the things that investors are looking at. But I will tell you that some indicators are still looking good on despite the deadline, and also as the numbers are pouring in, corporate earnings also still awaiting some. But I'll tell you that these are giving investors the insight. Well, I think that the big tech companies are not doing badly, and that has been a kind of a plus for the market. Even as Trump also deadline for India to face around 25 to 20 to 25 duty. These are the things that was seen. But most of the, like I told you, the agreement between the US and EU after UK have done, we've seen a lot of from others. But I think the world of China, they are still discussing, and they resume talk today, in they are talking to extending the 90 days tariff, to around the, expiring August 9th, 12th. Like I said earlier, last class. These are the things we are seeing in this market now, right away in that domain. But for me, there's no cause for alarm. We are seeing that the market are remaining a bit stable, even that sentiment remain a bit weak at this point because everybody looking for direction. But on the strength of the numbers that are coming, we are seeing that most markets are looking up. If you look at the India market as we speak now, India market is slow, is down, but I today realize that the Australia market is up, and also as also we are betting for what a cut in a bet cut what in their rate as also what is also impacting them. Well, this afternoon or morning, like here, we afternoon already. Sorry, Australia is up by market is up by 0.7%, which is good. Also, the same time we're seeing South Korea also jumping by 0.9% on the hope of what the trade deal before the headline. Also, the same thing we're seeing that China market also is up. You can see this is a serious one, and this is the major economy. China index are up by 0.7 and 0.8% respectively. Good one for me. It's also a good one. It's a good sign. But I tell you, the decision from Fed and Bank of Japan will be also another thing that also keep the market in one. More people are waiting to see the policy action that will come from these central banks. This also determines where the market goes. But I think that economic data that are coming are not bad. I think that in Europe we have seen that will improve GDP, even though it was soft, but it's an improvement in their GDP there. Their Q2 GDP in Europe, we think that is looking up slightly, which is also a good sign of the impact of ECB, rate cuts all this while. We are seeing a reflection on the economy, and also political front also being settled in that zone. We are believing that things will turn around in that zone any moment from now. But for that, investors also keeping attention on the corporate earnings that are coming in that domain. But knowing that for me it's a good one that even at this hour, with investors digesting the corporate earnings and also the GDP figure that just released right now to speak, it's also a plus for them. Now, earnings that are coming there are also a good one. But I believe that all eyes are still to see the latest move from the the Reserve Bank of US to see Federal Reserve Bank of US to see where they are going. But I'll tell you that this hour, like I said, the numbers there, the index there are missed in Europe, in the Eurozone. But good thing that Q2 corporate numbers hit in that zone are impressive, and that also to take the market as we are seeing the numbers lifting sentiment in Europe because corporate sector or corporate numbers are very, very impressive in that environment. And despite the volatile nature of the Trump administration and the trade negotiation have already had an impact on the corporate bottom line. Still, numbers are looking good, not too bad, considering the volatility and the fear of tariff done on some companies. I think that yes, when they were seeing these numbers, but numbers that are posting stronger earnings are good and not are more, and that is also good for that zone. I tell you that the zone growth data that I don't think that also released about comparing their GDP, inching up for me is a good one for the zone. And don't forget that Germany is the largest economy that we're seeing also that figure of in terms of retail sale in Germany is also improved by 10% compared to the previous month. But it's also tell you that this second quarter has improvement there. That means it's a plus, and that's why I believe that this will also trigger ECB to leave rate unchanged. At this their last week. This I can see that these are what guided them to leave the rates unchanged for the last week for ECB policy. But I think all eyes are focused on Japan and Australia. These are the latest policy meeting that is going on on Thursday tomorrow, and expect that to see the outcome of this. And also, crude oil, to tell you, also kind of have a pause at this hour. I also see that like to breathe out to see the development that is happening around Russia and Ukraine war, how they're going to end it, and also the peace talk in that Middle East. These are the things that is going on, as we speak now in that environment. But come back to the main market here, which is the US market. US market, everything is focused on the market has inched up, like I tell you, or ahead of the potential market who are going to include this reserve Federal Reserve interest rate decision, economic data, and also fresh earnings that are hitting the market. These are the things designing. But right now that the indexes in that market are inching up, it's a good one for me at this hour as an investor prepare for the pivotal wave that will come from central bank decision and also the major corporate earnings that all eyes on at this moment in that environment. But I believe that no major breakthrough after US and China trade talk, but I think it's still continuing today. And after yesterday, there is no agreement. But let's see what happened today. Both sides are still describing their discussion and which also aiming at what to arrive on. All it does to make sure that each party defend themselves and be in a good mood or in a better position with the trade tariff and all that for me. So the bad one. Also, we're expecting more earnings as I said earlier. This also give more insight on America was the state of on the state of the American economy, like also we're seeing here in Nigeria. To see this the to see the first reading of the second quarter GDP also is also very, very important. So this is the largest, biggest, the world largest economy. We need to see how they are going. Is it 2%, 2.5% growth during April? We want to see from April to what? April to April to June period following the contraction of 0.5 or so. Let's see how it's going to be, and also paying attention to what the labor or what we call labor data. These are the things that the market are, but all eyes are expecting to see the result of Microsoft Meta earnings. This are what I think that today will push the US market up. Yeah, back to Africa. Africa market is mixed, and I'll tell you that most of the market Africa are in green. Out of the markets we're watching here in InvestData, I can tell you that most of the African market are in green, including NGS. NGS, I'll tell you, this one is on another dimension right away. NGS is really moving, even as more earnings are coming, is fueling the momentum in the market, even when we are seeing technically market is at overbought region, but because of what of this on the strength of the earnings we are seeing so far, market is like ignoring the technicals, but I tell you, you cannot run away from it. But it's a good thing that we're expecting general reprice in the market, and that reprice because of inflation is also helping the market. As we speak, market is already heading toward to 140,000 mark, and that will be the first in the history of our market that hitting 140. And don't forget that if you remember one of the class recently, I said that the market is heading to 150,000. Already we're heading approaching. That means it's lovely before the end of August we're crossing in, because don't forget that this month of this third quarter, as from August and the late September, preparation for what for Q3. But on the strength of number we are seeing, you can see that the macroeconomic data is also pointing that something is happening. Ordinarily, you can see from here that our GDP will be better than the first quarter, which I told you earlier. On the numbers I've seen from yesterday night to date, it shows that the economy is really delivering value. That means the new policy of government that is strengthening the production arm of the economy is working. If they can sustain it, like I said it in one of the class, that it is not just seeing impact, it's sustaining it what matters. And also the exchange rate is also playing impact on the numbers. We are seeing that those companies that are posting loss before are turning positive is a good one for Nigeria market. And today we're talking numbers, and these numbers we're discussing is on what? On Nestle, UAC, Presco, and Nascon. These are the four companies we're talking at their number. But before we go there, I want to look at the market data right now to give us an insight to what the market is doing. The market data will open our eyes to tell us exactly what is happening right now, so that we'll pay attention to this. It's very, very important that once you know what is happening in the market, it gives you an insight to know what to do as a trader or investor. That's why you must pay attention to market direction, looking at also market data. But as we speak now, say that the market is strongly bullish, extending the bullish run for the days, making it the 20th days. We are seeing almost a month, right from only the first day of July. I was saw it can come here. That's the only day we saw a red market down. You can see after those market was on the side mode, what we call it institution mode. They saw a little pullback here. From there till date, market has been on green in the month of July. This is a special month, I will tell you. From almost 20 trading days, market 21 trading days, we already had one down market. As we speak now, today it's making 20 straight days. That market is in green. For me, it's a good one, and it has broken different psychological lines. Right now, as we speak now, the market have broken another two psychological lines. They have broken the 138 and 139, heading toward to 40 as we speak. For me, this is a strong market, indicator that yes, market is heading somewhere right now. That means we must follow the trend of the market. That's why even as you are going trading, you have to play with caution, because market has already entered strong overbought region, seeing the RSI reading almost a 96.01 as at yesterday. That market is really, and the volume in the market, we are seeing that between the volume and the recent rally, we have to pay attention to it. But we are seeing more momentum in this market. That's why we must pay attention to what is happening in the market right now. It's very, very important for every investor to pay attention, to know exactly what to do, because that is the only way you can pre-save in the market, and also you can put your portfolio or kind of the position toward to defensive sector and the company that help you to manage any change in market direction right now. But nevertheless, the market is still very, very strong, heading toward 40,000 mark, as I've said earlier. If you look at the market position right now, say the market is up by 1.01%, representing about 1,395.21 basic point, up from 137,000 and 137,901.88 to 139,319.45. This is the state of the market now. The data are pointing market have crossed the 39, crossed today, a bit too strong to line 138 and 139, heading toward to 40. For me, it's a good news for our market that we're seeing this kind of dimension right now. And that tells you that investors must also pay attention to make sure that they take advantage of this momentum. In doing this, profit taking is very, very important, because you have a goal you are trading, you trade your plan, and at the same time, because I said it's the price of the market, the earnings that are coming will give you an insight. Company that has good fundamentals that will support their price to go further high, and that is how to invest. And we are seeing most companies reaching expectation with strong numbers, and those that are followers in InvestData, how we analyze earnings, that you must see that earnings that are being posted are having ×2 of what of the inflation figure we're having today. And as at the last inflation figure, we're having about 22.2 9 times 2. That means for you to say a company number is good in this market, it must be 50% above or 40% above minimum. But now I see that most companies are even posting 3 digit growth. So I'm posting good digit growth above 20, 40, 50. For me, it's a strong number we're seeing in the market. And this also to tell that when there's inflation and economy, companies will know that into essential can really push the cost toward to their consumers and still put better number that will support their dividend payout and support their earning per share that also support their price. You must play with it and also pay attention to it. And also all eyes are still on what on interest rate. If we really want to really kind of fuel this economy, we need to look at our inflation rate, interest rate, and see how to work into that. Funds become cheaper for people to have access to funds and expand their business. Here, good news that here the World Bank again has also kind of upgrade our GDP. For me, it's a good one. Say that they are seeing potential what will sustain our GDP or sustain the economic activity we are seeing now. If this exchange rate is stabilized, one can tell you that it is not just taking action, it's sustaining it. Is very, very important. Now that we have seen that sectors have suffered losses because of policy adjustment or reform, let me put it that way, now that are coming up is a plus. But how these companies, of course, now they can plan with the expectation they are seeing, we need to see how far to go. On this note, we'll quickly go to this number that I said we're looking at. We'll start from what? From Presco number. Look at this Presco number. I'll tell you this number is fantastic. When I mean fantastic, figure don't lie. And you must look at this figure to get what you need. And today we're going to pay more attention to what? To the 6 months position. Yes, they are giving us insight on the 3 months, so from April to June. But we're looking at what the figure from January to what to June, what the half year of 2025. This is also a point to where also these companies are going. If you look at this top line, because of our time, we will look at the important things that are very key. One is here, we look at the top line and bottom line, how far they've grown, look at the earning per share, look at also the profit margin at the end of the day, because you see, that a company is having a good profit margin, that means they're also managing their costs. That's very, very important. And at the end of the day, what is the cash flow of this company? Will cash flow support, will they support the earnings? These are the basics that you look at. Once you see that the cash flow is looking up at the end, looking up, that means the earnings has potential to go higher. But when the company earnings is looking up and cash flow is looking the other side, it's a matter of time. So have it at the back of your mind. Other number might be looking good, but when the company cash flow is not moving in the direction with the earnings, it's a matter of time. But when you see the two of them are moving up, and that tells you that there is something in for investor to look at. And that's why you must pay attention to this anytime, any day. It's very, very important as for you to know as a trader or investor. For me, there's no cause for alarm because numbers are supporting what we're seeing. But it's rather for us play with caution at this point. But see, we're seeing good number. Look at this number from Presco. You see from 2024, how about 88 billion to 198 billion. What do you call it? It's more than 100%, around 120% growth. You can see it here for yourself. It tells you where they come. Also, if you go to quarter on quarter, from 45.5 billion to 105 billion, you can see this is a good one. Then you can, because we investors look at after you are seeing the top line, we try to see the bottom line, because you see the cost of finance, look at the tax payment, other losses at all. But at the end of the day, have been factoring in there. You look at what is being paid to the government. Once able to see that the government provision have been made, finance costs all have been. At the end of the day, what is the bottom line? Which is what we look at, what we call profit after tax. I will call the earnings. To see how strong this earnings is very, very important. For this company, you can see that the earnings move from 38.9 billion to 88.7 billion. Is about also 120% up. You can see that these are 3 digit growth we are seeing. Also, if you look at quarter by quarter, from 14.8 billion to 41.1 billion. Good number that will say at the end of the day, what is the earning per share? Look at the earning per share here. You can see this was about 38.88 naira before 2024, but currently now 2025, you can see that it's 88.72. Now you can see from this earnings, you can forecast that this company is not putting less than 160 naira earning per share, or 170 naira earning per share, and already they are giving just an interim dividend of 20 naira. What are you expecting? That means at the end of the day, you expect to spend 50 naira for free. That is 70 naira. If a company is posting almost 170 naira earning per share, paying you 70 naira, for me is not a bad one. Look at the price today. The price almost at 1,550 naira. For me, it's a good one. But at the end of the day, let's go and say what is the is the cash flow of this company. That is where I know that the balance sheet remain robust. We can see that their retained earnings is also good. We look at the retained earnings for the company from almost 126 billion to 200, and you can see it here. This is retained earnings. But that the share issue is very small, just 1 billion, 1 billion share, in issue. I can see that for me, the company is doing well. Even the foreign reserve, you can see the reserve is still very strong. Retained earnings, everything is very, very, in order for this company. Good one. We have seen the same figure from Okomu, but we see that in terms of reward, you can see what they come from Presco and also what's coming from Okomu. We really want to look at the cash flow. It's very, very important for me and anybody that is glad that it's not only looking at the profit and loss account. Look at the cash flow of this company to see what is the strength of the cash flow. Look at the cash flow from the period order review. This for the 6 months. You can see it here. The cash flow, you have to look at operating cash flow. The net operating cash flow is very, very important for us to pay attention. For this company, the net operating cash flow activities from the previous year is about 63 billion to 56 billion. It's a little decline here, but we have to pay attention to the next quarter to see what is going to happen. But I believe that it's still a positive one, not a negative one, but a decline also draw for our attention to pay attention to see, because if your cash flow continue to decline and your earnings going down, it's a matter of time. But let's see it as we are seeing at the first time now for this quarter. Let's pay attention to it to see if it repeats there what in the next quarter. That's why how we must look at this. If you look at what the result that came from Nascon, you can see that this number speak for itself. Look at the top line of this company, so that will be easy for us to know. Just initial analysis, pay attention. Look at from the 3 months here, which is for April to just like we saw in I think from 26.8 billion to 36. Good one, but look at the 6 months from 50 billion to what to 78 point no 78.2 billion. This is a good number by all ramification. But if you also look at their interest, the finance income is also a good that we pay attention to it. Look at the finance income for the period. There's improvement here from about 600 something million to 2 something billion in finance, and cost also drop. You can see, result. If you remember when I analyzed the result from WAPO, I told you about what their cost element dropping. When cost is dropping, also your cost of finance is dropping. Also, it's a plus at the end of the day. You can see it here that cost is dropping here. They are making finance income increasing, and also the cost of fund also have dropped here. Even when we are in an environment where interest rate is high, it's a good one at the end of the day. Looking at all of the bottom line, finally after they are factoring in their tax and everything, consider that the profit for the period also pay attention here from 4.84 billion to 15.6 billion. This is magic. I'll tell you, this very, very good. At the end of the day, we are seeing that the earning per share, even if you say that it's annualized, I'll tell you that this number is also very, very important. A company that is having what if you look at the share in issue here, for me, with it, tell that these numbers has improved tremendously, that you must pay attention that yes, you are saying this is an annualized figure, but I'll tell you this is a strong number looking at what the company earning per share compared to the previous year. For me, the previous year, I say it's a good one for Nascon, and that's where Nascon is heading. Even when the major news is also on that way, from now, that will be a plus for the company. But look at also the balance sheet. The balance sheet remains robust, as we have seen. Look at their retained earnings also. Retained earnings are moved from almost 30. Let's go up here so that it will be clear to you that what we are doing. Look at the 6 months review. Look at the full year account. But for balance sheet we are looking at now, go down and see even their total asset has also improved from around the 84.8 billion to 111. This is also an indication what has happened in the company. And if you come to their retained earnings from 30.12 billion to 51, this company is strong. Even if they want to pay dividend, they have all it takes. Even on the profit they are making on it takes. This is a strong company. And also, if you look at the end of the day, what is the share in issue here? The share in issue here is less than just I'll tell you that the share in issue at the point of looking at this is that the share is less than 2 billion shares we are seeing here. Less than 3 billion shares. Let me put less than 3 billion shares divided by that is almost you are seeing as any per share about almost 5 naira something against 3 naira something. Then you can see the good. At the end of the day, when you are seeing 10 naira and earning per share in this of 12 naira earning per share, we are going to see a dividend not less than what, not less than 4 naira, 5 naira, where the price will go further. That means this price at 92 is just at the beginning. This is that you're looking at around 180, 200. If this momentum continue and this number is sustained in Q3, which we are going to see that the economic environment is becoming more friendly than when the companies were in 2024, where we were experiencing a high, continuous hike in rates and all those stuff. If now that rate is remaining stable in terms of, and also exchange rate remains stable, interest is not too high. These are remaining stable again, flat. What is why for me it's a plus for them. It has shown in these numbers. That's why I say you must pay attention. Look at the balance sheet and then quickly look at the cash flow. We like to say that cash flow is very, very important. On cash flow for Nascon, look at the cash flow for Nascon. Really pay attention. The cash flow from operation, net cash flow from operation. This is what I pay attention most time because this is support. You can see that from a negative 10 billion to 17.9. Good one from last year. For me, don't forget that last year was very hectic for them because of the headwind in the economy and at the same time high interest rate and also volatile in terms of exchange rate. We are seeing this now stabilizing since 2025. This is a good one. Actually reflecting on the, for me, it's a good one for them. We quickly look at the life of what of Nestle. Nestle is a company that yes, I'll tell you, is one of the companies that is more stable and with multiple product line in Nigeria. And this company is something that Nestle Switzerland have about 62% of this company, and that is also a plus for them. But all this while, because of FSN, they had it prepared in their finance, but they do what call financial engineering, and they come up to wipe away their negative shareholder fund. These are what also was saying that the numbers are also pointing that there's a great recovery in that company, and that has led the price from as low as 900 naira, was it almost in at one above 1,800, 1,700 right now. That means that people that are pushing that stock also made money. So that yes, the production sector of the economy or manufacturing sector of the economy is also bouncing back. You can see the number here for the 6 months from January to what to January to June. You can see the magic here that their top line was almost up from you can see it here. For me, it's a good one for the company. It shows that this is almost around getting to almost 30 something percent to 40% turnover kind of change in terms of percentage, which is good. At the end of the day, look at the bottom line, and don't forget that this company see their other incomes also has improved apart from their activities, major activities. You pay attention. Look at also their finance income also dropped compared to the previous year, and also their finance cost. Pay attention to it. If you can look at the margin here, drop from 318 billion to 43 billion. You can see that this stability we are seeing is also a plus for them. And also, being that they can plan with exchange rate, you can see that it's reflecting on the number. That's why you can see that they have turned from a loss of 176 billion, 176.9 billion to what what we are seeing right now. For me, it's a good one for the company that we must pay attention to it right now. This is for me for them to post 50.57 billion at the second half of the year. It's a plus for Nestle, and that gives investors an insight that something would come out. This company that now pay dividend by the end of 2025, I'd like to see them pay dividends because of what the numbers are what are positive. You can see that earnings per share have improved from a loss of almost 200 something now to 63.8 naira for half year. For me, it's a good one for Nestle. Just quickly look at the balance sheet of Nestle, because I told you that they do what call account reshuffling, and that also account re-engineering. That also have also impacted on what on their assets. Can see that there's might say marginal total assets equal, but tell you to stay in green at the end of the day. You look to see what is the shareholders fund also. You can see that even there, you can see that we're seeing some loss accumulated. This can see that I can see that accumulated loss is still there, but it's also declining. For me, it's a good one for shareholders to also pay attention on this because it's not into financial. They might likely do share production and pay you do accounting production and pay you dividend at the end of the board. If it's to be in financial sector, they will not pay dividend because of their accumulated loss. But let's see how it goes. But for me, it's a good number and improvement for us to pay attention. These are the things that we need to do as what at the investor anytime you need it. Looking at this company number, give you insight of what to do or not. Then we pay attention to see what is the net operating. You can see also the net cash from operating activities has also improved from negative to 187.6. For me, it's a good one for next. I pay attention on what on operating cash flow because it's very, very important for any analysis you are doing. Finally, because of our time, yes, I know that I've started 5 minutes. That's why I have to take time to finish this 4 components. Please, if you are giving me a sign here, just give me time to finish UAC. If you look at UAC number now, say that UAC number is missed. Yes, we saw that the top line was up. If you take the 3 months to 3 months, there's improvement there. Also in 6 months, that's that top line also is looking good. But if we go down and see what is also happening here, you must pay attention to see that this figure we're seeing in USA is also important somewhere. But at the end of the day, they look at that saying that their cost here, their finance income dropped heavily from 10 billion to what to 2 billion here. And that's also reflected on what at the bottom line at the end of the day. You must pay attention on the cost element because it gives you an insight what is happening. Yes, with the news of acquiring Chi exotic line from I forgot the name, but it's a good news. But I tell you, as I speak now, this is missed number. Despite that, I saw a decline from their bottom line. If you look at the corporate data, dropping from 9.something billion for them to 7.3 or 7.4. So it's marginal, but we need to see how with the acquisition. Don't forget that acquisition will not quickly turn to profit. It takes a little time for them to put into business and see how the expanded business also yield more. Don't forget that when you expand it to be acquired, you don't know what you acquire at the same time. Depend on the potential. You cannot say because they acquire company overnight. No, you need to also factor all those costs into their business. But I believe that this is a good number, despite the missed number. We saw a good top line, but a marginal decline in the bottom line. At the end of the day, this also reflected what on the earning per share from 3 naira posted to what to 2 naira, 2 naira 40 kobo currently. As you can see, a decline of 3 naira 4 kobo to 2 naira 40 kobo right now for the earning per share of the company for the half year result. At the end of the day, now looking at their balance sheet is still very, very okay. Looking also robust, but pay attention to see what is their retained earnings has also improved. You can see it here from 46 to 53. Good one for these numbers. But because of our time, but quickly let's check what is happening also on their cash flow. Cash flow is very, very important, and I'll pay attention to what the cash flow from operation because of our time. You can see there's also improvement from the group from 8.4 billion to 10.8 billion. For me, it's also a good one. Like I always tell you that you must pay attention to that a company sustain what, how they sustain in their work, as the earnings are going up, cash flow is going up. That is good. Actually, that the company numbers are also looking up at that particular time. But if you look at the chart now, for us to round up, chart shows that for the first 20 days, for the last 20 days now, this market has been up without pulling back. Just by profit taking, we are seeing in between only the first day of July that we saw a market in red. Others can see it. Let me we're looking at the volume, that volume has supported the market on this trend going above the board. Now, that despite the last 5 to 6 trading days, volume are below what are below the average traded volume for the market. But still, market is going over. Seeing the numbers that are coming are confirming strong, and that people are still doing what we call analysis, especially the big boys, which is the smart money that will also kind of analyze this price to analyze these earnings to relate with what the price and see how far this earnings support. But for me, from the figure we're saying, company will have to go more because we're seeing better earnings that will support higher price at the end of the day. That means if you are buying stock now, buying to value, and this company numbers are strong, at the end of the day, good dividend will come and price will still go up to reflect what is happening in the economy. That's why the pricing that we're seeing is ongoing, but also trade with caution. On this note, I'll say thank you and thank you for your time. See you next Friday. Yes, I might not be available this Friday, and also we are going to resume the upper Friday by God's grace because I hope you're around. I have a program to do. I'll say thank you and enjoy the rest of your trading day. Bye.